usual in Chepkube Market in Bungoma town. The hustle and bustle continues without fear of contracting COVID-19. Most of the business owners and other residents are not wearing masks, neither is there social distancing. Throwing caution to the wind, there are no designated water points set up by the county government.
Hakuna mtu mwenye amechukua ile jukumu la kutueleza ama kutuambia kwamba huko nje mambo ni mbaya. Kwa sababu hii COVID-19, my friend, itachapa kila mtu hapa hii Bungoma na kwanza tauliza serikali walikuwa wapi.
Mimi haswa sijaiona mtu mwenye amepimwa corona. Na asilimia ya wale wamepimwa corona nchi hii ni 1%. Sasa hivyo basi kama janga hili kweli lingekuwa la kweli, Wakenya karibu tungekuwa tumekufa sisi wote.
This has also raised concerns following the increase in COVID-19 infections within the county, with the county recording over 100 positive cases. The locals blame the county government for the spike in infections.
Mimi sioni kama iko tayari kupambana na janga la corona kwa sababu ukiangalia hapa Bungoma hakuna mtu anafaa mask, hata kwa watu 100 ni mtu mmoja. Hata hawanawi, hata hawakai mbali na wengine, wanakaa tu in groups wakifanya tu maneno yao kama kawaida. Hawaogopi corona. Corona iko, ninawaambia na wakisha corona iko watu wajihadhari sana msiambukize wa corona.
It is reported that some of the county employees have tested positive for COVID-19, with the governor Wycliffe Wangamati currently in quarantine. Helen Aura, NTV.
Did governors misappropriate funds allocated to fight the COVID-19 pandemic in the counties? Did they also seek to grab a share of the COVID-19 millionaires' loot at their level? The County Assembly's Forum suspects the monies were embezzled and now wants the Senate to conduct a special audit to investigate the matter. The national government allocated funds to the county governments to boost COVID-19 containment efforts, even as their respective county assemblies passed supplementary budgets for the same. But now flags are being raised as the oversight role was limited, as most assemblies were closed and some of the monies were disbursed and used up by the county governments without proper and ideal oversight. While appearing before the Senate Ad Hoc Committee on the COVID-19 situation, the County Assembly's Forum called for further action by the Senate.
By the county assemblies. So that is a gap that we are very worried that we might have lost a lot of money in the county assemblies or in the counties.
The Senate should come down very hard with a clear special audit mandate to the Office of the Auditor General, because we don't think as assemblies generally that these monies has been accrued for the purposes that it was meant.
And that is really truly sad. And these governors have to be put to task. These executives have to be put to task, to explain this. And I agree with you. As part of our recommendations, we shall ask for a special audit on these supplementary budgets that were done.
To politics now, and Deputy President William Ruto has this morning declared that the stage is set for a political duel between those who want to change the constitution for their own selfish political gains, he says, and those agitating for the common man. The DP, who was speaking at Sironga Sports Ground in Nyamira County, also warned his political opponents that time was up for what he described as politics of ethnic balkanization in the country. Okokusa is with the Deputy President's entourage and now joins us live from Nyamira. Okokusa, how was his edict received?
Well, it's a bit noisy here, but what I can report right now authoritatively is that the Deputy President is almost addressing his second event of the day. Earlier on, we were at Sironga Sports Ground, where he was conducting a fundraiser in aid of Boda Boda from Nyamira area, and of course that is why he made those statements that you've just mentioned there. He's talking about certain politicians in the country who are only interested in changing the constitution to create political positions that will reward themselves. And now he's saying that he stands for changing the constitution to address the common man or common Mwananchi's problems. And that is why he's actually out in these campaigns to give out to support the common man businesses. That is what he says, that is out to provide support for the common man to lift their living standards, and also accusing certain politicians in this country of not taking the common man kind of business seriously, and saying that the narrative now has to change from top to bottom and vice versa, from bottom to top, that the political narrative in Kenya must change to address the common man position. Those are the words of the Deputy President. Actually, he's also touched on last week he was supposed to have conducted this particular event that he's doing today, but they were cancelled, and therefore he also touched on that, saying that nobody is going to stop him from visiting any part of the country, that no Kenyan is a visitor or a foreigner in any part of the country, and therefore he'll be continuing with these campaigns to reach out to the common mwananchi down there on the ground. That is briefly what is happening now. We are at Miriri, where he's supposed to be conducting another fundraiser in aid of the local Seventh-day Adventist Church. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Okokuso Kokusa, literally in the thick of things in Nyamira County, where he tells us the Deputy President has made it unequivocal that nobody can stop the Hustler Nation. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission has begun the process of clearing aspirants vying for the Msambweni parliamentary seat. Kevin Mutai is in Msambweni with the latest. Kevin, how many have been cleared so far?
Well, Olive, good afternoon. And that question is, I believe, the county elections manager will be helping us to delve into that just shortly. But what we're here and what I know is that this is a two-day exercise whereby the IEBC will be conducting a clearance exercise to, with all the aspirants who are vying, or rather interested in the Msambweni parliamentary seat. Remember, this seat fell vacant in March this year after Suleiman Dori died due to a short illness. But what we're expecting right now is that the independent candidate Faisal Badari is on his way to this particular facility, and what I understand is that the police officers have mounted roadblocks because they've restricted the number of people who will be allowed in this particular area to only 11. That means that Badari with only 10 of his supporters will be allowed to access this facility. But I also understand that there are certain other aspirants who decided to shelve their plans to support Badari, who is also a candidate being fronted by the Deputy President William Ruto. And I also understand that other politicians from the country, led by Kimani Ichung'wah, that is the Kikuyu Member of Parliament, who will be holding a rally later in the afternoon after Badari. If at all he will be successfully cleared by the IEBC, then they'll go ahead to hold a public rally. Remember that once they're cleared, all the candidates will definitely begin their campaigns immediately because this particular by-election will be conducted in December 15th after it was postponed in April because of the coronavirus pandemic. But before I hand it over back to you, Olive, let me just ask one question. The IEBC elections manager in Kwale County, Nelly Ilongo, just be very brief. How many aspirants have you received today, and how many have you cleared, and how many are they in total?
Thank you, Kevin. We have a total of 11 candidates that we hope to clear. Already we are on candidate number 2. So we expect to clear 4 today and 7 tomorrow. Yes, sir.
How many independents and how many are being fronted by the parties, political parties?
We have 4 independent and 7 that are party sponsored. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, definitely this is an exercise that everybody is really keeping an eye. Remember also the Wiper party leader, Kalonzo Musyoka, who has been touring the coast region, by the way, and said that the Wiper party will also be fronting a candidate. So we're expecting this race to be, involving the 3 largest political parties here in the country, and we'll be here, Olive, to get all the happenings from the ground, and definitely we will be filing a more comprehensive story on the happenings surrounding the Msambweni by-elections later in the bulletin during the day. Back to you.
Thank you, Kevin. And Kevin sets the stage for Bridget Ngana in Nakuru County. And she tells us that Naivasha, Gilgil, Molo and Kibos are the next pit stops of the ongoing railway rehabilitation efforts, and that the government insists that no one will be compensated for encroaching on public land. Bridget, I hear that has been protested.
Well, Olive, there seems to be a technical hitch as far as the audio is concerned, but just as you've mentioned, is that earlier on this morning I was able to speak with the Regional Commissioner, George Natembeya, who's supervising the works that have been going on at the railway grounds, and it is a scenic view from where I'm standing at. It's just right behind me. The stretch that was behind me, further afield, were buildings, but they came down on Sunday, and this is just the first for Nakuru County. Actually, by tomorrow, there will be more demolitions in the sub-counties of Naivasha, Gilgil, Molo, and these are slated on railway grounds. People have encroached on these grounds. They've put up permanent buildings, and they do expect that these buildings will come down anytime soon. So the government is not sympathizing with anyone. For those who have laid legal claim on their grounds and saying that they have title deeds or proof of ownership, the government is telling them to shelve them for now, because the initiative is to ensure that the Naivasha or Naivasha Kisumu route or Naivasha Malaba route for the railway is ongoing seamlessly. Already they've said here in Nakuru County they've recovered 40 acres of land that had been encroached. The operations here are 90% on course. It is a multi-agency effort involving the military, involving the National Youth Service, the security forces. The regional national government is also following up on that. And I had an exclusive interview with George Natembeya this morning, and he said he doesn't have maybe time for those who might come up and say they would want to be compensated. The government has no time for that. For now, they are interested in reclaiming railway land, and this is something that, according to the national government, will revive the economies of these areas that had died since the death of the Kenya Railway Corporation, but now it's under revival. And they say that once the goods come from Mombasa to the inland container depot at Naivasha in Mai Mahiu, and that is where the SGR ends, it will now commence the journey from Nakuru towards the western region into the neighboring countries. The logic behind this, the national government is giving, is that it will end road carnage that has been propagated by heavy, long-distance vehicles, the trailers, and those that have been usually using road travel to transport goods from Mombasa in towards the other landlocked countries in East Africa via this route, Nakuru route. So we are preparing ourselves to see major distractions from for structures that had been constructed along railway reserves, and this is something that the government is very intent on making sure that it makes good on its promise to bring down these structures. But the other side, Olive, is that the psychological effect that this is having on these people. They had set up businesses. Some of them say they have leases, that they had entered into agreements with the Kenya Railway. But when we spoke with the management of the Kenya Railway, especially this Rift Valley region, they say that there's a clause that gives the government 90 days to reclaim this land. So they are legally within the bounds of the lease, that within 90 days they're supposed to surrender this land. So nobody should be obligated to take the government to court or even seek any compensation for that matter.
Bridget Ngana speaking to us from Nakuru County, updating us on the reclamation of railway land. Robert Tonui, the husband of Emmy Chepkoech Mitei, who died after being set ablaze in a kitchen, was arraigned in Bomet County to take plea for his wife's murder. Chepkoech is said to have gone to her father's house following a domestic disagreement. Tonui allegedly followed her, doused her in petrol and set her ablaze. She said she died 2 days later after an agonizing battle for her life.
Chepkoech Mitei was a respected deputy head teacher at the Cheptelal Primary School. Her pupils found it befitting to call her Madam Emmy Mitei, a sign of respect and honor. But at her home, she appears to have received anything but that. She was a battered woman and had been for years. She left her husband and moved into her parents' house. Her abuser allegedly followed her to what will be the last of years of attack. He poured petrol on her and torched her in her mother's kitchen and in the presence of her youngest child, a 6-year-old boy. The 45-year-old bore 2 days of agonizing pain in hospital before she breathed her last. Her blood is allegedly on the hands of her husband, the father of her 7 children, and her abuser. 50-year-old Robert Tonui appeared before a Bomet court to answer to charges of his wife's untimely death. He wore a seemingly defeated demeanor. The crime and his state of mind, the court ruled, may need some evaluation to make sure he is fit to stand trial. Until then, Tonui is to remain in police custody for 12 days. The case is to be mentioned again on the 26th of October. Charity Mwangi, NTV.
Kajiado County government has increased its health budget to include a 50.6 million shilling investment in nutrition, efforts that the governor says will help improve the health of the residents. The governor was speaking at the Maasai Technical Training Institute during the launch of the Kajiado County Nutrition Action Plan. The program is expected to run to the 2023. Upon its completion, the county hopes to reduce the disease burden in the county.
Malnutrition is the process.
Tabia zetu na kusema hatuli mboga kwa sababu mboga ni chakula ya mbuzi, samaki ni nyoka, kuku ni ndege. Kwa hivyo kazi yetu tu ni nyama? Hapana. Madhara ya kutofuatilia maagizo lishe bora yanatokana na sisi kutoweza kujiendelesha kiuchumi na kushindana na Wakenya wenzetu.
That talk of food leads us up to our next break on this lunch break bulletin.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
The new Maisha Aluzinc Mabati from Maisha Mabati Limited. For the first time in Kenya, a roofing product that combines aesthetics with proven resilience. Its unique combination of aluminium and zinc gives it a 5 times longer lifespan than normal Mabati, thanks to the excellent state-of-the-art mill. It has 20 years lifespan, it's easy to install, it's flexible and durable. It stands up to severe weather conditions, has good abrasion and rust resistance, it's affordable and is approved by the Kenya Bureau of Standards and is available countrywide. It can be used for all applications. Always insist on Maisha Aluzinc Mabati, a product of Maisha Mabati Rolling Mills, Ruiru.
New Blue Band Mayonnaise. Made from natural ingredients with omega-3 and 6 to enjoy long-lasting freshness and natural taste unlike any other mayo. Grow healthy and happy kids with New Blue Band Mayonnaise.
Thank you for staying with us on NTV at 1. Mount Kenya region is suffering from an acute blood shortage after the government directed the closure of schools and institutions which were the main blood donors due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The move has forced the region's blood and transfusion centers in Embu town to run with 100 units per day instead of the 600 units normally. Regional Blood and Transfusion Center Director Mwangi Kihara said that the most hit counties without blood in their banks include Murang'a, Kirinyaga, Embu, Isiolo, Meru and Tharaka Nithi.
Since COVID hit, donors ran away and we have had a problem with blood donation. So we are asking Kenyans to come out in large numbers and donate blood. We are targeting to collect about 50 units of blood.
Tunaona ya kwamba tunaweza kuwa na hafla kama hizi miji tofauti tofauti kama Embu ikiwa ya kwanza, Chuka, Kirinyaga, Kerugoya na hata Meru na Nyeri.
Bidco Africa has rolled out a series of school activations aimed at inculcating a culture of healthy and safe living among young learners. And that is to scale up hand hygiene in line with the 2020 Global Hand Washing Day theme, Hand Hygiene for All. The company visited schools in Nairobi and Kiambu counties with donations of hand washing soaps in a campaign dubbed Spread Love, Not Germs. The campaign further seeks to create hand washing heroes in schools through learner-friendly games and competitions involving posters and class group work.
And we are glad we had prepared for them. We had for example, in the classes, we have spaced them. A class of 30 now is having 20. A class of 40 is having less than half that way so that we can keep the distance.
October 14th every year marks KDF Day celebrations and commemoration of the brave and gallant soldiers who paid the ultimate price while defending Kenya. This year's celebrations were conducted in Mariakani, and that is the Mariakani garrison in Kilifi County, where the Chief of Defense Forces, General Robert Kibochi, revealed that the deployment of KDF troops to Somalia has significantly helped in combating terror-related activities. NTV's Kevin Mutai with that report.
The Kenya Defence Forces celebrations were set aside by the Ministry of Defence in 2011 during the Operation Linda Nchi to commemorate and honor men and women in the forces who selflessly fight to protect the nation. Defence Cabinet Secretary Monica Juma, who was accompanied by the Chief of Defence Forces General Robert Kibochi, unveiled the commemoration plaque at the Mariakani garrison.
Their sacrifice shall never be in vain, and so we gather here today to remember and uphold their aspirations to secure and defend our nation.
May this year's celebration bring you good memories of your loved ones. We are forever grateful for their priceless sacrifices and service to our country and humanity in general.
KDF troops are still serving under the African Union mission in Somalia.
KDF troops continue to fight against terror groups, both within and beyond our borders. In particular, we have significantly degraded the Al-Shabaab organization, and we remain ready to robustly continue with operations toward the protection of our sovereignty and territorial integrity.
This year's KDF Day celebrations anchored on enhancing peace and security through civil-military cooperation signifies the selfless devotion of the Kenya Defence Forces in protecting the integrity and sovereignty of the nation.
Our nation has become a demonstrative leader because you watch and guarantee the freedoms, the norms and standards that secure our nation, our region, and the world. You have proved yourselves as guardians of peace, stability, and democracy in the region. And for all these gifts, we say thank you.
This is the 9th anniversary celebrating the troops who paid the ultimate price while in the line of duty. Kevin Mutai, NTV, in Mariakani, Kilifi County.
Leaders from national and county governments have raised concern over the rampant deaths across the country emanating from the border accidents. Speaking in Komobo village in Nandi County during the burial of Lance CS, Farida Karune's father, who was killed after being knocked down by a border. The leaders called for the need to clean up the sector. The leaders underscored that unless both government officials and elected leaders work together in instilling discipline, borders will continue running rogue. Education Cabinet Secretary Professor George Magoha urged politicians to implement the safety and regulatory laws that are already in place to avert more border related deaths and accidents and deaths.
Laws are already there. Why are we unable to enforce them? And I will point a finger, a small finger, because I'm also now in government, But I will point a finger at my political friends, because you don't smoothen issues which are going to continue to kill people.
I think we really must do something about these border accidents. Every hospital in Kenya has a border wing. Why should we create space for border accidents? Why can we not deal with the problem? I think it's about time we dealt with the problem.
Lakini pia training ya vijana wetu wa bodaboda tayari inaendelea, lakini nadhani ni jambo ambalo lazima tuichukue kwa njia ya kijuu ili tuweze kusaidia, kwa sababu sekta hiyo kwa kweli imeweza kusaidia vijana wengi.
Na nafikiri tafika wakati lazima tuketi na tusemezane na tukubali kuna uwezekano ya kuweka nidhamu kwa sekta hii.
Let's take a look at what's happening away from Kenya's borders. And after a partial reopening of their economy following a spirited battle with the COVID-19 virus, France has announced a nighttime curfew that has been advised by an upsurge in COVID-19 infections. The curfew will affect Paris and 8 other French cities and will run between 9 p.m. and 6 a.m. Making the announcement, President Emmanuel Macron said that the country will adopt the testing, alerting and protecting strategy that will be stepped up in the months of November and December. The president also said that according to the predictions by scientists, the nation will have to deal with this virus until at least the summer of 2021. All the scientists, that's what all the scientists say, and it has received mixed reactions from the public.
Le faire depuis le début.
First of all, there will be checks, and I thank our law enforcement agencies for doing that from the beginning. And there will be fines, as there are already for many of the planned offenses.
Déjà quand il y en a qui sont observés, je le rappelle, et je rappelle aussi qu'en cas de récidive, c'est 1 500 €.
My first reaction was that it's going to be hell. I mean, we are not teleworking, so we still have to go to work. So I actually get home from work at 9 p.m. So I'm thinking it's going to be very difficult in terms of social life. I'm absolutely not going to have a social life anymore. So I'm a little bit apprehensive, I admit.
G20 nations have announced a 6-month extension to the debt suspension initiative for the world's poorest countries ravaged by the COVID-19 pandemic, triggering criticism from campaigners who say that this does not go far enough. The 20 most industrialized nations had pledged in April to suspend debt service from the world's most vulnerable countries through the end of the year as they faced a sharp economic contraction caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The initiative will now be extended until the end of June next year, and the G20 finance ministers and central bankers said this after a virtual meeting hosted by the group's current president, Saudi Arabia.
We have agreed to extend the debt service suspension initiative by 6 months and to determine by the time we meet during our spring meetings whether the economic and financial situations require extension of the initiative. We strongly encourage private creditors to participate in the DSSI when requested by the eligible countries. And we will continue to closely coordinate the DSSI's ongoing implementation to provide maximum support to DSSI eligible countries.
Let's take a look at the sports news now. And Machakos-based side Mwanga FC outclassed their rivals Kaweve FC, beating them 2-0 in a friendly match played at the Mwanga grounds in Kadhiani, Machakos County. Mwanga took the lead in the 4th minute before doubling the score in the 29th. The derby was the first local friendly played since March after the nationwide ban on sporting activities due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In other fixtures, Farmers FC downed their opponents Ngoleni 2-0 with the winning goals in the 37th and 49th minutes respectively. Additionally, Mwanga Juniors and Kaweve Juniors wrapped up their match with a 1-1 draw. We conclude NTV at 1 on that sporting note. My name is Burrows.
This is NTV.
Celebrate Mashujaa Day with Royal Mabati. We have glossy profiles at Kenya shillings 370, tiles profiles from Kenya shillings 550 countrywide, and Royal Aluzinc startup pricing at 290 for hardwares. Call us today to make your order. Free delivery countrywide with Lipa Pole Pole payment option available.
Blueband margarine. New look, same great taste.
When I was in prison, I thought a lot about you.
This is not acceptable!
We know you love milk, and now there is milk that loves you. With Gold Crown lactose-free milk, you can enjoy the richness of natural cow's milk without any of the digestion discomfort. Gold Crown lactose-free, milk that loves you.
Yes, I. Kama maze, your favorite reggae showdown all over East and Central Africa. Jam down live on NTV maze kuanzia saa 4 mpaka saa 6. Unajua vile si ufanya best of roots, lovers and dancehall music right here NTV. Miss Katiwa.
Kama kawaida, you know we're taking all the requests, but remember the hashtag Kama kawaida is JamDownKE both on our social media platforms. Remember, each and every Saturday lazima tukulete guest, but this coming Saturday Tanya Stephens atakuwa na tuchangamkia pale kwenye NTV Jam Down. Call me Miss Katiwa, the Caribbean Queen, and my one and only DJ Mo the Roughest and the Toughest.
Got this suction, I tell the people they should know right from wrong.
We are checking out all things art, and what's even cooler is the choice of canvas.
Exactly, Nick. From body art to henna to tattoos, and who knows, I may be brave enough to get a tattoo for the second time on air.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to be meeting up with a digital artist who's really good on the computer, but she's also the awesome conventional painter.
Amazing, and we'll be checking out some graffiti artists a bit later.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a wicked one.
Did you know that you can join Safaricom Sacco? Membership is open to individuals, and corporate employees can also be enrolled on checkoff. As a member, you save and enjoy affordable loans at favorable interest rates and mortgage facilities. Safaricom Sacco, empowering you.
NTV, turning on your world. The following program has been rated PG. It may contain scenes unsuitable for children under the age of 10.